Hey all my creative friends, I'd like to share with you a monochromatic painting that I did of a Jersey cow. Jersey cows are some of my favorite cows. We used to have one that was a pet, but before I do that, I have something important to do. Monochromatic painting is a really nice way to do a painting without getting all hung up into color mixing and getting your palette just right. You can pick a color and you can experiment a little bit and think more about the contrast and the shapes and maybe the texture that you're doing on the painting. The painting of this cow was done on Strathmore 140-pound paper, 9 by 12, and I'm using an H pencil, the hard, to do the sketch. And I'm using these scale dividers, which I've never used before, but it's a good way to measure out from a picture or an image and scale that to the paper that you're using. I'm visually dividing it into thirds. And I want to place the left eye right on one of those intersections because that will be the focal point. But I'm sketching out roughly, and I want the face, the head of the cow, to have a little more detail than the body. The body, I just kind of want to fade that out and keep that soft. So I have the pencil sketch done here and I'm ready to do the paint, and I'm using an Antwerp blue for the color. And like I said before, when you just use one color, you don't have to fuss around with mixing and thinking about what's light and what's dark. And So as far as the highlights, I want to leave the parts on the nostril, I want to let the white of the paper come through and have that appear almost shiny. You know, the nose of a cow would be really like wet and smooth, so I don't want much texture there. So that calls for pre-wetting the paper and really smoothing out the paint there. And here I'm coming in with the deeper color, kind of the washed out. I pre-wet it with the brush that I'm using, and it's not really the ideal brush, but it's one I had handy, so I just picked it up and started using it. But it's hard to get along the edge of the nose with that brush. It's a really good wash brush if you're laying in like a sky or something like that. And once you get away from the detailed areas, it's a good brush to use. Now, one thing I'm adding in that's not in the photograph itself, I want to add in a little bit of grass in the mouth, like it's been chewing on some hay, just to give it a little action. So I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope that you were inspired.